Missouri Governor Jay Nixon signed an executive order early Monday morning authorizing the National Guard to move into Ferguson after another night of violent protests. Over the weekend, tensions between demonstrators and police mounted as protests continued despite a state-imposed curfew. And police equipped with armored vehicles, shields, and gas masks fired tear gas into the crowd. A St. Louis suburb has been gripped by unrest since the killing of 18-year-old Michael Brown. He was an unarmed black teenager who was shot and killed by police officer Darren Wilson on August 9th. And the curfew implemented on Saturday night is currently still in effect. Also on Saturday, the New York Times reported that a preliminary autopsy indicates that Michael Brown was shot at least 6 times, including twice in the head. And according to Dr. Michael Baden, who conducted the private autopsy at the request of the family, one of the bullets entered the top of his head, suggesting that he was bent forward when struck. And citing, quote, extraordinary circumstances, Attorney General Eric Holder ordered a second autopsy to be conducted by a federal medical examiner. The Brown family has put funeral arrangements on hold until the second autopsy can be completed. HuffPostLive's Marc Lamont is on the ground in Ferguson and took this video after a young man was shot at a protest.
We down here. Kid got hit with a bullet. Got hit with a bullet? Yeah, he got shot. I'm right here, Keith.
His boy done got shot.
Yo, he's shot. Yo, we gotta get him to the hospital. Kid is shot. Gunshots went off. This kid is shot.
Make a way. Make a way.
Yo, get him to the car.
And Mark joins us now from Ferguson, Missouri. Mark, good morning.
Morning.
That video there is pretty raw. Can you tell us what happened?
It was a very rough night. This was Saturday night after the curfew was imposed. Many protesters decided that the curfew itself was unjust. We were out there chanting no curfew, or no justice, no curfew, no justice, no curfew. We were down the street. Law enforcement was up the street, and they said that if we didn't leave, that we'd be subject to arrest and other actions. Some of the other actions that they were referring to were smoke bombs and eventually tear gas. They shot that stuff down the street, and as the tear gas and the smoke bombs began to come down the street, some of the young people, a very small number of the young people, began to throw the smoke bombs back. Some people threw Molotov cocktails. One hit a restaurant, and we put the fire out because we didn't want to set. I didn't want to set any restaurants on fire. 99% of the crowd didn't want to set anything on fire, and so we went to put that out and really keep the crowd peaceful, and that's what most of it was. But as those smoke bombs started to come down, shots went up in the air. And when the shots went up in the air, we all got down. And then I heard someone was hit. And that's when I ran over to the young man who you see there. And we got him we got to a hospital, and we got his, whoever he was with, into another car and got them out. The challenge of getting them out was that the road that would normally get us there was being blocked by police tanks. And we were scared to drive forward because it would have been interpreted as an aggressive action, and they would have opened fire. In fact, later on in the evening, police pointed guns at all of us, shot tear gas at a very small street that we were on. And we were trying to leave at this point. We had our hands in the air, and we said, we're trying to leave. And they still had their guns up. They shot tear gas, and it was very difficult to see, to breathe, and we barely got home. That young man was in critical condition. I don't know what happened since then. I didn't see who shot him, although people did run off. It was not a police officer who shot him, to be clear, but all of that happened after the violence really sort of was initiated by the smoke bombs and everything else.
So what's the mood like now? I feel like this has been such an emotional roller coaster, too. We obviously saw a lot of tension between protesters and the police last week. But then when the Ferguson PD were taken out, it seemed like for a moment that things had calmed down until this curfew was put into place. And so, where do you see it going from here?
Well, the roller coaster, first of all, is absolutely correct. Yesterday I was at Shalom Baptist Church where the audience gave a rousing applause to Captain Brown, who, as you mentioned, was brought in the middle of the week to bring peace to the area. The community on the whole has been very supportive because he brought in a new approach to policing. They were no longer being as aggressive. They weren't looking for trouble. They were looking to protect people more than property. At least that was the line that was given. Soon after that, though, by Friday, when the curfew was imposed, we began to see the same aggression, and we began to see aggressiveness. We began to see the same tension. And that sort of roller coaster has been going on. Yesterday, we were at a peace rally. Youth were peacefully marching. And then once again, we see police assembled with riot gear, it seemed to me looking for trouble. And when the marchers peacefully moved up the street, they were antagonized by police. Now, on the other side of the road, not on Florissant Street where we were, but on the other side, there were some young people who moved a little too close to the command center. And that's when police pulled out their guns. That's when they started firing tear gas. But they didn't just address that small group of people. They then incited violence against the entire crowd who were peacefully marching up the street. And that's what I mean. A small group of people are being used as a pretext for violence to larger groups of people, even when it's unnecessary.